Hello friends, today we will discuss nested for loop. So what is nested for loop? Nested for loop is one for loop inside the other. What does that mean? It means for every step of the outer loop, we will be running the inner loop entirely and then we will proceed to the next step of the outer loop. Here, the outer loop represents the rows and the inner loop represents the columns. So how do we do that? I'll be telling you. So let's first see the output. So this is the output where I'm printing the stars in a particular pattern in the form of rows and columns. And how many rows and how many columns are defined by the values inside my for loop. Okay. So how is this done? Let's discuss that. How do we derive on this pattern? Let's discuss that. So let me open the notepad for you. So for a value of, so suppose we come to line number 7, for a value of I is equal to 1. Fine, we go to the next step. And now this is part of my outer for loop. So to make things easy, I might be referring to this as I loop or the J loop. But you can use other variables also. So it's not like I and J only, but for the ease of explaining, I might be using I and J as is given in the program. So for a value of I is equal to 1, which is part of the outer loop, I go to the next step, line number 9, which gives me another for loop. And here the value of J is 1. The starting value of J is 1 for the next loop. And this is part of my inner loop. So this is part of my inner loop. Now, as I said, the outer loop stands for rows and the inner loop stands for columns. Okay, so now what do I need to do next? So for a value of I is equal to 1, J is equal to 1, in the next step, I need to do a SOP. I need to print a star. So how is this defined? So first row, first column. So I print a star. So if you see it in the form of a tabular way, so first row, I is equal to 1, first column. So it will be printing a star here. Okay. Then I go back to the program. So now what happens? Once I print the star for the first row, first column, and I go back to line number 9 again. Why I go to line number 9 again? Because see, the loop has not finished. I need to finish the entire loop starting from j is equal to 1 to j is equal to 3. I need to finish it first. So first I will be running the inner loop completely and then I will be proceeding to the outer loop again. So because the inner loop has more steps, it's not only like j is equal to 1, it goes till j is less than equals to 3. So I go to the next step where the value of j is 2, but the value of I will still remain 1. That's not incremented. We are still inside the inner loop. So j is 2, whereas I is still 1. What should I need to do? I need to again print a star. See, originally I had printed a star in the first row, first column. Now it means what? First row, because I is 1, and second column. So a star will be printed here. Or if I show it to you in the tabular form, it will be printed here. First row, second column, I is equal to 1, j is equal to 2. Okay, let's go back. And now for a value of j is equal to 3. See, j will still increment. The value of I will still remain 1. And again, I need to print a star. So 2 stars are already there. Now I need to print the star in the first row, but third column. Okay, so where should I print it here in the tabular form? I will be printing here, first row, but third column, like that. So in this way, if you see, the first row is completed because from my program, I can just go till the value of j is 3. I cannot go beyond. The loop terminates after that. So once the inner loop terminates, what do I need to do? I need to go to the main loop or the outer loop again. Now the value of I is incremented to 2. Fine. And see, it is print statement, not println. So everything comes in the same line in this case. So once I finish with line number 13, I have another statement saying system.out.println. Means what? Means after the 3 stars get printed, I need to hit enter. I go to the next line or the next set of printing the stars. So now for I is equal to 2, I again go to the next line, which is line number 9, and I need to run it for all the steps of the inner loop. So the first step is j is 1. So the value of I is 2 means what? It is row 2 now, and it is column 1. Fine. So see, already I had 3 stars printed from the earlier steps. Now I go to the second row and first column. First star got printed. Okay, fine. Then this repeats again for a value of I is equal to still 2, but the value of j is incremented. J needs to run 3 times as is given in the program due to the values. So these 3 stars were already there. Then the next star was also there. Then I again printed one more star. So if I show back in the tabular form, see this we have already done in the last step. So I need to print it here as well. So I print this here also. So now if I go back again for a value of I is equal to 2. See, the value of I is not changing. The outer loop still is the same. Now again I change to j is equal to 3. Second row, third column. So these 3 stars were there. And these 2 stars were also there. I print the third star. So second row, third column. Okay, fine. I do that. Then the same steps repeat for a value of I is equal to 3. And we will be running it for j is equal to 1, j is equal to 2, j is equal to 3. All the 3 steps run again. But an important point to note here is once I change the values here, I go to line number 14 also, which takes me to the next line. See, otherwise it's all coming in the same line. So after the inner loop finishes, I have given another statement in the form of line number 14, which tells me to go to the next line. So that is how my pattern is created. So I need to take care of all those things to create a proper pattern of my choice. So the outer loop defines the rows as well as the inner loop defines the columns. So as many times as I'm running the outer loop, so as many number of rows I will get. As many times I am running the inner loop, I will get those many number of columns. So if I make the changes here to see this, so if the value of j is 2 now, okay. So if the value of j is 2, let's run the program back again. So what? See, the number of rows is still 3 because the value of I is 3, whereas the number of columns is 2 now. It's no more 3 because that's the maximum value the inner loop can run. Suppose I make a change here. I make it 2 and I make it 5. Let's see how it changes. So I run it back again and see. I have 5 stars in one row, but the number of rows is 2. The number of columns is 5 as I have defined in my loop. Now I want to create another pattern where suppose I want to extend it till 5, the number of rows, but I want the number of rows and number of columns is same. So for a value of j should be running as many times as the number of rows. So if the number of rows is 1, I want only 1 column. If the number of rows is 2, I want 2 columns. So how should I do that? Let me show and then I'll explain it to you. See, so I get a triangular sort of a pattern. How? See, for a value of I is equal to 1, I'll explain it back again. See, for a value of I is equal to 1, I go inside the inner loop, j is equal to 1. Okay, fine. What should I need to do? I need to print a star. Okay, I printed a star. Now, my value of j gets incremented, it becomes 2. But the condition is what? Condition is that j should be less than equals to I. So, when the value of I is 1, it cannot be 2. So, the inner loop terminates. It cannot run anymore. So, I go to line number 14, which means to go to the next line. So, only one star is printed in the first line. Now, for a value of I is equal to 1, for a value of I is equal to 2, again, I go to the inner loop. First time, the value of j is 1. We'll start from 1 itself. When we are starting a loop fresh, so what it says? It says that print me a star. Okay, I print a star. Then the value of j is incremented. J now becomes 2. What is the condition? J can go till the value of I. The value of I is 2. So we can have j as 2 also. So this is permitted because the value of I, the maximum value of I is 2 here. So it allows me to print one more star. That is why in row 2 you get 2 stars, because the value of j is 2 and it allows me to run the j loop 2 times because I need to match the value of I, which is 2 in this case. So first row only 1 star, next row 2 stars, and likewise where for a value of I is equal to 3, the j loop will run 3 times. So I will run it 3 times, so 3 stars, and it goes on and on till my row 5th is printed, where I have 5 stars. So 5 rows, 5 columns, like that. So from the inner loop, I am matching what? I am matching the number of rows to be matched the number of columns. So this is how making a change in the nested for loop makes you give different patterns. If you change the value, suppose you want a number loop, you instead of the star, you print I. So see for yourself, it will print the numbers for me now, right? So it print number, whatever is the number. See, I doesn't change. I is still 1 in the first case. It's always 2 in the second row. It's always 3 in the third row. So for a value of I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, I get the same numbers in the columns because I'm printing the value of I. Suppose I print the value of j. I don't want I want the value of j. In that case, see, the first row, first column, the value was 1. First row, first column, second row, first column, the column value is 1, but the column value is 2 in the second column. So if I'm printing j, it prints me the column values. So that is how I can get different patterns out of the same program by making a little change here and there with the nested for loops. So this is nested for loop for you. If you have any more doubts, please get back to me. Thank you so much.